Okay guys, welcome back. A guy has emailed me his story, and this one is a bit of a roller coaster. It involves a bar girl from Phuket. They seem to get along and start a relationship, but like most, it ends in tears. So yeah, let's jump into this one. A little bit of background. I had been to Thailand a few years before this story, and I quickly became addicted to the nightlife out there. I know it's not for everyone, but I liked the idea of buying girls drinks and having fun with them without any strings attached. It's really not just the older men that can get addicted to that place. I loved it, and I couldn't wait to one day return. So, let me start my story, and hopefully your viewers can take it as a lesson or have a laugh. I don't care, I just fancy sharing it. Me and a friend of mine flew to Phuket for a short trip so we could spend days at the beach and night times having fun on the adult playground that is known as Bangla Road. I was pretty clued up, well, I thought I was, and had done some research about Thai bar girls and how they can be extremely convincing liars and how they can make you believe that they like you, even love you. That being said, I know it can work sometimes. There is plenty of stories about farangs with bar girls that are very successful. But in general, most stories end badly, and the game that they play is just for money. Fair play to them. It is a business after all, and if foreigners fall for that, then it's not exactly the girl's fault. Like I said, I had been to Thailand a few years before, just to Bangkok, but it was my friend's first time in the kingdom. I think it's great seeing people experience Thailand nightlife for the first time. They feel like a rock star and a kid in a candy store at the same time. Everywhere they look, there will be a beautiful Thai girl that they will fall in love with. I'm sure we all remember our first time. Anyway, after a couple of nights exploring the playground in Phuket, buying lady drinks, flirting, bar fining, and temporarily falling in love with a new girl every 5 minutes, my friend met a stunning girl he was smitten over. They was all over each other. He couldn't get enough of her from the moment that he saw her. She had reeled him in good and proper. He wanted to keep going back to the same bar so he could see her. I told him to go have fun with her, but don't do anything stupid like blowing all your cash on her, falling in love with her, or paying for her to leave the bar for good. He went to see her again, and I hit Bangla Road on my own to get into some mischief with the beauties down there. I remember going to an Australian bar, and the waitress there was very flirty with me. She was clearly a professional, and if I had not done my research before, I could have quite easily fell for this girl. I can really see how easy it is to get attached to a bar girl there. The next day, me and my friend went to chill on the beach, and my God, he had fallen hard for this girl. He would not shut up about her, telling me how he had a fantastic night with her and describing what they got up to. He was telling me she is nothing like the other girls we had met on this trip, and how she did not really go with customers, and that she is only doing this job to support her family, but she wants to quit. You know, the typical stories that girls tell foreigners. I could see that he was falling for her, and I did try and warn him about catching feelings here, but I guess some people have to learn the hard way. Later on in the story, you'll see that I should have listened to my own advice. He then told me his new girl had a best friend at the bar that wanted to be set up with me. We was invited to meet them and go eat mookata with them in the afternoon. I told him straight that I did not want to go on any dates with a bar girl, and that they are just there to have fun with inside the bar. However, I did tell him that at night I will come to the bar with him to meet the new love of his life and her friend. He agreed, even though he really wanted to double date, but I just wasn't interested in wasting my days with a girl I probably wouldn't have wanted to be with anyway. Once we arrived at the bar that night, I was introduced to a shy but very, very cute girl named Belle. She seemed nice, nothing overly special, and not the type I'd normally go for, but my friend wanted to bar find them so we could spend the night with them. Normally, before I bar find a girl, I like to move around the different bars to see which girl I'd really like to be with. But me being a good friend did not want to burst my friend's bubble with his new girl, so I accepted paying 300 baht bar fine for Belle, and off we went to party through the night. The night was actually pretty good. We had a lot of laughs and fun times. I really connected with Belle, but at that time, I only liked her as a friend, and I had no interest in spending more time with her. I even went home alone after we partied all night. Now this is the part of the story where the problems begin. See, my friend was totally head over heels for his bar girl, and he wanted to go and see her pretty much every night. And I didn't want to go exploring new bars on my own all the time. I wanted to have fun with my friend as well, so most of the nights I would join him, and of course Belle would be there. At that point, I did not fancy Belle or even considered taking her back to my hotel. I merely looked at her as a friend and someone I could hang out with and have fun with while I'm in the bar. But that was all soon about to change. After a few nights at the bar, Belle started to really grow on me, and sure enough, soon after, feelings developed and we became inseparable. We would be at the beach in the day, bar finding her in the evening, and sleeping at my hotel at night, every night. Now it was me falling head over heels for a Thai girl, after I warned my friend about it. I did not realise it at the time, but I fell for all the bar girl traps with Belle. She had become like an addiction to me, and I felt that this girl was better than all the others that I had met there. From what I could see, it seemed like she hated doing bar work and never wanted to be there, always wanted me to bar find her as soon as she started. She did tell me that she does not go with customers and just talks to them at the bar. She claimed she was doing this type of work to save up for further education, as she wanted to work in a manager role in retail or at a restaurant, but she wasn't fully qualified, or something along them lines. I can't really remember. But whatever she said, I was eating up all the stories and believing every word that came out of her mouth. Looking back, I don't know how I went from not wanting to spend my nights with her to wanting to be with her every minute of every hour. It's really strange how Thailand works. Anyway, a couple of days before me and my friend was leaving, she did actually tell me that she loved me and she did not want me to leave her. I told her that I loved her too, and I would be back with her as soon as I could. I really did not want to leave her, and at the time, it really sucked that I had to go. When the day finally came that I had to leave, my heart was heavy, and during the taxi ride to the airport, there was a lump in my throat, holding back the tears. This was a completely new feeling for me. I thought I was clued up on how things work here, and I'd be the last person to fall for bar traps. Before entering the airport, I gave Belle my last 5,000 baht. Even though she did not ask for it, I still wanted to give her a little something before leaving. I know it wasn't much, but I just wanted to show a little appreciation for the time that I had spent with her, even though I had paid for our days and nights together. I was so eager to get back to Thailand that on the plane, before we even got to London, me and my friend had made plans for our next trips so we could see our ladies as soon as possible. The plan was to work as much as possible, taking on every overtime shift I can get my hands on, and then return to Thailand in 2 months. And that's exactly what I did. I think I had like 1 day off from work in the whole 2 months, and saved every penny that I could. Before we knew it, we was back on that big bird heading back to the land of smiles to carry on where we left off. The excitement that I was going to see Belle again was overwhelming. After 2 months, I was still madly in love with her and couldn't wait to have her in my arms again. Once we landed in Thailand, we checked into the hotel, showered and got ready. Then we headed straight to the bar where the girls were waiting for us. As soon as Belle saw me, she jumped up from her table and came running into my arms. It felt like we had been away from each other for 2 years rather than 2 months. The butterflies I got when holding her again was insane. I kind of knew deep down that I was in trouble, but I'd be lying if I said that I did not like the feeling I had. Me and Belle soon found ourselves spending every minute of the day together, doing the same things we did last time. Going out to restaurants and the beach in the day, then bar finding her at night and partying until ending the night in our hotel. It was a magical 2 weeks to say the least. I realise now that I was bitten by the Thai bar girl bug, suckered in and convinced myself that this girl is different and we could actually have a future together. But like so many men in Thailand, we are living in a fantasy rather than a reality. Me and Belle said our goodbyes again. There were lots of tears and promises to make us work. Them 2 weeks spent with Belle, my friend and his girlfriend, flew by, and we found ourselves on the plane yet again. My friend told me he is going to break it off with his girl because she dropped the "I need money because my mother is sick" on him. I told him it was a good idea to break it off with her because the requests for money would just keep coming and her mother would always be sick. Luckily, Belle was different, right? Wrong. I ended up returning to Thailand twice more that year to see Belle. I just want to say now that I was not and still not rich by any means. I was working lots of overtime just to have enough to make all of these trips to Thailand. During my trips, I was still under the impression that I had found a 1 in a million bar girl and that we had a bright future ahead of us. We hardly ever had a fallout. She never asked me to support her or come up with lies to why she would need me to send her money. She knew my financial situation, and that did not seem to bother her. That's why I loved her, because it felt like she loved me and not for money. We carried on as we were for a year, and things were going pretty good. I was still hoping that one day I could be with her and not have to leave. One day, while I was back in England, she told me that her Facebook account had been hacked by an old ex-boyfriend that was trying to get in touch with her. She had told me previously about her ex-boyfriend, and we had a brief encounter with him once in Thailand, where he drove by on a bike, pointing at us. She told me not to worry and that her ex was just obsessed with her, but they broke up a long time ago. Facebook was the main way that me and Belle kept in contact, so I created a new one for her and tried to hide as much of her personal details as possible to prevent her ex trying to find her. We carried on chatting on her new account, where we even discussed more of our future plans. She wanted to get married and we both moved to Bangkok, where she could go to university and I could try and get some type of work. Looking back, it was just wishful thinking and the chances of us having a rosy future was very slim. I was just blinded by love. Though the feeling of living and working in Bangkok with Belle would have been a dream come true. Now, here's the part of the story where it gets even more interesting. One day, she messaged me asking me to call her as soon as possible once I finished work. I did not know what to think about this message. A million thoughts went through my head. I was expecting something like, someone in her family is sick and she needs money, or that she has found someone else and wishes to break it off with me. So once I finished work, I rushed home and called her immediately. She told me she was pregnant and that the baby was mine. This was something I was not expecting. I quickly started doing maths in my head, and it would have been around 5 months since I last slept with her. Wondering why she's left it this long to tell me, I replied, "Are you sure it's my baby?" To which she replied, "Yes, it's your baby. I have not been with any other guys since we met. I was just scared to tell you because I did not want you to leave me because I love you so much." After our call, I must have sat there for about 30 minutes with my mind racing and trying to think what I should do next. We had never planned to have a baby. We had never even spoken about it before. So, in my eyes, I had 2 options. Option 1, block her from everywhere, come off social media and lay low for a while, and basically just move on with my life acting like I'd never met her. Or option 2, be a man, fly out to her, help raise my child and be a good boyfriend and future husband. I did really care about Belle and I wanted her to be in my life, so option 1 quickly became not an option. I booked another flight as soon as I had enough money, which was about a month after finding out she was carrying my child. It was both funny and relieving once I landed in Phuket and saw Belle walking towards me with her bulging belly. I was relieved because at least she wasn't lying to me about being pregnant. Though it was a bit awkward walking around Phuket with her, with other foreigners looking and staring at us. I dread to think what they was really thinking when they saw me with a pregnant Thai girl. We visited the same bar where I met Belle, where all her friends was congratulating us. I said thank you, but really I did not know how to feel about this whole situation. I had a mix of emotions. We of course went to the hospital for a scan and to get some other tests. We got confirmation that Belle was approximately 6 months pregnant and was healthy with all the other tests. Thankfully, she had no diseases. It still did not fully sink in that I was going to be a father. I only went for a fun holiday with my friend, and now I'm rubbing a Thai girl's belly, feeling my unborn baby kick. Although this wasn't planned, I was hoping that it would all work out and we live happily ever after. Again, a lot of wishful thinking. I couldn't get rid of the doubts in my mind about the whole pregnancy. I always use protection, and I made sure I 100% use it when I'm having fun in Thailand. I was convincing myself that I must have gotten too drunk once and we didn't use protection, or maybe it just split. I don't know. I guess I was trying hard to believe that the baby must be mine and my girlfriend wouldn't be lying to me. I was soon back in England again, alone with my thoughts. I talked to one of my best work colleagues about my situation. She told me that I need to be really careful and that I need to find out 100% if the baby is mine, otherwise it's going to cost me a lot of money for nothing. In fact, that was pretty much the same answer that everyone gave me. But silly naive me believed everything my 1 in a million different bar girl would tell me. Now, requests for money had begun, and it was pretty much hard to decline her request as she was carrying my child. I needed to be a man and support her. I started sending 10,000 baht a month. It wasn't a great amount, but it's the best I could have done during that time and the wages that I was on. Then the day finally came where I got a call from Belle telling me that my healthy baby had been born. Again, I had a mix of emotions. I was somewhat happy that I was a father and starting a family with my girlfriend, but at the same time, the doubts never left my mind. Me and Belle decided it would be best for her to leave Phuket and move to Bangkok for a bit with her mother and siblings so she could get physical help from them while I helped financially. I desperately wanted to see my child and my girlfriend. I hated the thought of being away from them and not being there to help. So, scraping the bottom of my bank account, I book a flight to Bangkok to see my girlfriend and newborn child. I was met at the airport by the whole family, which I thought was a bit weird, but it was my first time meeting her family, so this may have been a normal thing. We drove to her family home that seemed to be in a rundown part of Bangkok. Not exactly the place that I'd like my son to be brought up in. When I walked inside, the baby was swiftly placed in my arms, and with me staring at the baby and Belle's family staring at me, it was so obvious that this baby was 100% Thai. It was not mixed in the slightest, and had none of my features at all. I think the family was expecting me to question the baby's race. But as the baby hadn't long been born, I put it down to that it's not developed all the features yet and could well be half Thai. At this point, my anxiety was off the charts and I sensed something wasn't right here. It wasn't long until money was brought up and I was put on the spot in front of the whole family. One of the family members, who spoke fluent English and was already married to another Westerner, started questioning me about insurance policies for the baby. Belle just sat there, looking embarrassed and nervous, watching me part way with 12,000 baht for her family to help with the baby. Like I said, I knew something wasn't right here, and I sensed I was being scammed. However, at that point, I couldn't prove anything. Next, the mother of Belle said that she needs 30,000 baht for the family every month for looking after the baby. I agreed, but made the excuse that I needed to go back to England first to set up transferring funds. I just said that my bank does not let me make transfers from another country. That was obviously a complete lie, but I did not have 30,000 there and then. Now I'm really in too deep. Not only do I have an unplanned baby with a bar girl, but now I need to support the whole family. The amount I make from my wages is barely enough for me alone to scrape by. Once I got back to England from my latest Thailand trip to see my son, I realised that I was no longer in love with Belle and that a future with her was just wishful thinking after all. We just wasn't the same anymore. We spoke less, and when we did speak, it was more or less always about money. I was still unsure if the baby was mine. I wish I had done something secretly to be able to get a DNA test or something. I did not want to be a deadbeat dad if the baby was actually mine, so I took the risk and continued to send whatever money I could every month. Then one day, I was checking Facebook and I saw that Belle had changed her profile picture from a picture of me and her to a picture of just her. This made me a bit suspicious that she may have met someone else, or there is something going on that I do not know about. The next bit of this story, maybe I shouldn't have done, but I'm glad I did. I remembered it was me that created her Facebook account, so I logged into it. And what I found shocked me. All the doubts I had about my son all became true. It turns out that I wasn't the only father. There was two other Western fathers, a German and an American. She had been copying and pasting the same message to all three of us, and all three of us fell for it. We was all led to believe that we were the father of this child. This beautiful, perfect, innocent bar girl that wouldn't harm a fly was receiving 90,000 baht a month from this scam she had running. It turns out that the baby wasn't any of ours, but her Thai boyfriend's that she has been in a relationship with since before I met her. I managed to contact the other two Westerners and explain that we were being scammed. I sent all the screenshots and whatnot. Whether they believed me or not, I don't know, but at least I tried to warn them. I was so angry, hurt and heartbroken. Angry because I fell for the bar girl tricks and allowed myself to be scammed this way. I really should have listened to my own advice that I had given other people. I was hurt because at the time I did think she was different and we could have possibly had a future together, a good one. And heartbroken because I feel I was just used by her, that her feelings towards me were fake from the start. Anyway, after an hour or so, after I cooled down, I wasn't angry anymore, I just felt stupid. I called Belle and confronted her with what I had found. At first, she denied that she is lying, but when I told her that I've been on her Facebook, I shown her all the screenshots of the chats she had been having with the other guys, to which she admitted everything. The thing that got me the most is she did not even apologize or sound apologetic in any way. It was like, oh, I've been caught, on to the next guy. She didn't take my feelings into consideration at all, regardless of all the trips I've taken and time we spent together. I won't ever get into another relationship with a bar girl. I understand now that they are just there to make money any way they can. They are very convincing and it's a way of life for them. About 6 months passed with no communication at all, and I decided to have another trip to Thailand with my friend. We went to Bangkok and then headed to Phuket. I was drinking in a bar opposite the bar that I had met her, and then I saw her walk outside. She must have left her baby in Bangkok while she returns to the bar. A lot of memories came flooding back, and I started thinking again about how my future would have been with her if she was legit. I was contemplating walking over just to say hi or something. I don't know, but I thought, what would be the point? I drank my drink, left without her seeing me, and never saw her again.